Hi friends, I am Dr. Pratap Singh Rathod. I have done MD in Forensic Medicine, and today we will discuss about forensic ballistics. Ballistics is a science of projectile motion and conditions affecting that motion. So any object which is thrown in a projectile motion and whatever affects that is decided in ballistics. Forensic ballistics is a science dealing with investigation of firearms, ammunition, and problems arising from their use. So forensic ballistics mainly involves the study of the firearms, the science behind that, ammunition required for that, and problem arising by using the firearms. This includes proximal ballistics, intermediate ballistics, and terminal ballistics. So proximal test ballistics is the study of firearms and projectiles. So in that includes any study of firearms like rifle gun or shotgun, and the ammunition in that, the cartridges used in the firearms, all that is studied in the proximal ballistics, where the includes the study of the firearms and their ammunition per se. Intermediate ballistics is the study of motion of the projectile after it leaves the gun barrel till the time it hits the target. So if you in a gun, when the bullet or a barrel exits the barrel and hits the target, the time the in between that the motion of that projectile is studied under intermediate ballistics. So it is a study of motion of the projectile after it leaves the gun and hits the target till the time it hits the target is studied under intermediate ballistics. Terminal ballistics is the study of behavior of the missile once it penetrates the target. So once the bullet or any projectile enters the target, and after it enters the target, what are the things it can do, what are the effects it can produce in the target is studied under terminal ballistics. On ballistics also includes elementary ballistics and wound ballistics per se. So elementary ballistics study of anatomy of the firearm. So it only studies the anatomy, manufacturing, and the parts of the firearms and ammunitions. It includes the study of firearms. Wound ballistics, on the other hand, is the study of effects of missile on living tissues. So what type of wound the firearms creates, in what range the wounds are created, what range of weapon, what type of wound is created, what type of wound it inflicts on the living tissue is all studied under wound ballistics. It also depends on the what type of weapon it is fired. By rifle weapon, what type of wound is produced. By shotgun, what type of wound is produced. So it's all studied under wound ballistics. Now coming to firearm per se. So forensic ballistics mainly deals with the firearms. So firearm by definition is an instrument or a device which is used to propel a projectile by the expansive forces of gases generated by combustion of explosive substance. So firearm is an instrument like a gun. So instrument which propels the projectile. So projectile may be anything like a bullet by the expansive forces of gases. So there is a expansive force of gases mainly produced by the ignition of gunpowder. So whenever there is ignition of gunpowder, gases are produced. That gases, maybe the gunpowder produces expansion of gases. These gases puts propels the projectile, the gun, the maybe a bullet. So that is the firearm. So firearm is an instrument which propels a projectile by the expansive process of gases generated by combustion of explosive substances. Explosive substance may be anything. Composition may differ based on the type of gunpowder. Ammunition is the assembly of the unfired primer. So any cartridge consists of a primer, which is the ignition point, then the gunpowder, composition of the gunpowder, and the projectile per se. So there is a primer, there is a gunpowder, there is a primer, there is projectile, propellant. Propellant mainly consists of gunpowder, and there is a projectile. So projectile may be a bullet or any shotgun pellets, it may differ. So that is the study the ammunition. So firearm is an instrument which propels a projectile. Ammunition is the assembly of unfired primer, propellant, and projectile. Now, when you study the general makeup of a firearm, this consists of four parts. First is a barrel. So barrel is a hollow metal cylinder in which the proprietary charge is placed. So any firearm, there is a metallic barrel, consists of metallic barrel. It is a long in rifles and shotguns, but short in case of pistols and revolvers. The lumen that inside of a barrel is called as a bore. So the terminology differs in the rifle. It is called also called as caliber, and so in short smooth bore it is called as bore. So it differs, but you should remember inside of a lumen is bore. The rear end, the end from which the cartridge is inserted, is called as a breech load. So breech loading, breech end. This is called a breech end where the cartridge is inserted, and the part where the bullet comes out or a shot comes out is called as a muzzle end. So two ends are there, muzzle and the breech. So breech is the where the cartridge are inserted, and muzzle is the where the bullet comes out. Other part next is the action. It consists of bolt, striker, or hammer or trigger. So based on different guns, it may be bolt where the bolt is pulled back and pulled out, or it may be a trigger which pulls the hammer backside and hammers puts the pin which strikes the cartridge, or it may be there based on the different it may be there. Then there is a grip or a butt. It is a rear portion of the stock in the shoulder arm or a bottom of a handgun containing the magazine. So in rifles it may be a butt, may be a made of wood. It may just be used for the shoulder arm, or in the shotguns it may be used to hold the gun, or it may also consist of a part where there is a magazine is loaded. Next is a magazine. The magazine is a receptacle for the cartridge in a repetitive type of weapon from which cartridge are fed automatically into the chamber by the action of mechanism. So magazine is the assembly of cartridges which is placed inside the grip, which causes the repetitive, mainly the repetitive type of weapon, which feeds automatically the cartridge into the chamber of the gun. So that is consist of the magazine. So these are the four main parts of the any rifle. Other than that, other things like a sight from which it can be targeted can be seen, or like a hammer, revolver consists of a revolver magazine. Then there is a trigger guard, or a rear sight, front sight. All this will be depending on the gun. Different parts are present. But these three or four parts are the main which will be seen in the all the type of guns. Now coming to mechanism of firearm. So just a general mechanism, the action where or the action which causes the firing pin hit the cartridge is that which may be differ based on the hammer or a bolt. So this firing pin hits the cartridge. So when it hits the cartridge, it hits the primer and causes ignition in the gunpowder. So when there is ignition in the gunpowder, it causes the explosive forces. This explosive force causes the gunpowder to ignite, and explosive gases causes the bullet to come out from the barrel. Now coming to classification of firearms. Classification is based on the rifling. Mainly, this is the main classification. It based on the rifling. It may be rifled weapon or smoothbore weapon. So rifling is a way in which there is a bore is scored internally with number of shallow grooves in 2 to 20 in number. So bore, as I told you, the lumen of a barrel is called as bore. So in the bore they are scored. So there is a depression in the depression caused in the barrel internally with number of shallow grooves. So this may be six. Commonly there are six grooves are present running parallelly on to each other and twisted spirally. So these grooves are twisted and run spirally along the barrel. So this has advantage, like it causes gyroscopic effect when the bullet comes out. So that's how the rifling is done. Groups are called as rifling, and projecting ridges between the groups are called as lands. So this projecting ridges are called as lands, and depressed parts are called as grooves. So this helps for mainly the projectile to have a gyroscopic effect and comes out. So if there is rifling is present, that those are called as rifled weapon. If there is no rifling, those are called as smooth weapon. The firearms can also be classified based on the firing action. It may be overbolt, underbolt, lever action, or pump action based on how the cartridge are loaded or fired. Rifle weapons again has different types like .22 caliber, single shot, lever action, bolt action. Revolvers maybe like spring rod, break top, solid frame. Single shot pistols, auto-loading pistols, submachine guns, machine guns based on different manufacturers and different actions, magazine presence are present. Smoothbore weapons mainly consist of the shotguns. Again, there are different shotguns like single shot, bolt action shotguns, double barrel shotguns, pump action, lever action, auto loading. Different forms of shotguns are present. So these are the only two types of we are concerned, rifle weapons and the smoothbore, which are used, and forensic ballistics will deal with this. These are my references. Thank you.